Power Start Episode 1 in Forge of Empires. I should publish more for new players is a very frequent request. I completely understand this, as new players, of course, have most questions. In the coming weeks, I will show the start of the game until the High Middle Ages. I try to make the important things correctly and want to explain everything to new players. As I always was a fighter in this game, I decided for the peaceful way this time. Whenever possible, I want to negotiate and avoid fights. If experienced players have more tips, I would be happy to find these in the comments below the video. I decided to start my new city on the US server Anchor. This way, I avoid conflicts with my existing cities, and I intentionally decide for the 25th US server, the youngest server, as new servers are always a bit more challenging than older servers. Currently, players still have to enable the Flash player. This will change soon, as the game has been migrated to HTML5. The startup screen varies. This time a scene from the Industrial Age is shown, but it still will take long until that age. We start much earlier in the history, in the Stone Age. In Forge of Empires, you develop a city passing the Bronze Age, Iron Age, Middle Ages until modern eras, the Contemporary era and furthermore. Many great buildings from these ages will be constructed. I decide to be a tradesman for this video. But no player has to make such a decision. Most play a combination of fighter and tradesperson. They fight as long as possible and negotiate the remaining part. I will emphasize the cooperation between players, as this has huge benefits. Then we are already in the game. Initially, players cannot make their own decisions. You have to follow the questline presented by Regu Silvertongue. This quest explains the basic actions in this game. You need population and realize that by constructing residential buildings. These provide coins, one of the two basic resources in this game. Production buildings provide supplies, the second basic resource. These supply productions have to be started intentionally by the player. In this tutorial, I first use 5-minute productions. Then we take a look on the technology tree. Here you can use forge points to research new technologies. With the first technology of the Bronze Age, the Stilt House, our town hall gets upgraded from the Stone Age to the next higher age. We receive a few rewards for this. We already know coins and supplies. We used forge points for the previous research, and the importance of medals I will explain in one of the next videos. Each new age is a big step for the city. To make the population happy, or better, enthusiastic, you need culture provided by decorations and cultural buildings. Now we have to construct one of these stilt houses. As a reward, we get promised 2 spare fighters and 100 diamonds. Diamonds are the premium currency in this game. Beside this tutorial, please do not spend diamonds for now. I explain the background of this later. Now we receive 100 diamonds, but we have to spend these for a longhouse immediately. This is a better residential building with more population, also providing more coins. You only can buy it with diamonds. Therefore, this one longhouse should remain the only one. From now on, we are no longer limited by the tutorial. But it is highly recommended to continue to follow the main questline presented by Rake. The next task is to research spares. We again spend forge points in the technology tree. With this new research, the province map will be released. There we have a scout. Sending it to find the first province is free and only takes a few seconds. This will be different in the future. As soon as we discover the province, the task is to attack the first sector. I want to be a peaceful tradesperson, but I have to start this fight to make progress in the story quest. The battle is led by commands, impossible to do something else. Those who want to learn more about the fighting system can watch the video Dunnersund on this channel. There the fighting basics are explained. This video will not explain it again. I will only demonstrate how to make progress as a tradesperson. We fetch the quest reward, and as soon as we return to the village, InnoGames makes advertisement to buy things, making this game easier. It can make sense to buy diamonds later in this game, but you also can play the whole game without spending a single cent of real money. For beginners, I highly recommend to first wait a bit to check if you really like this game that much that you want to spend money for it. My recommendation is to ignore the advertising and close the window. The technology spares enabled us to construct a spare fighter barracks. The story quest asks us to do so. We will build it, but we will never use it. As a story quest wants us to train a spare fighter, we do so. But from now on, players can decide between peaceful negotiations and fights. In this video, I negotiate, while occasionally I will mention my videos related to fighting. Fighting is not better than negotiating or vice versa. These are two completely different possibilities to act in this game. After collecting the reward, culture is a topic again. We have to own 2 memorial buildings. This is very important as the previously built residential buildings reduce the culture dramatically and the population is very unhappy now. We already have 1 memorial building. Let us build the second. It provides additional 72 happiness, enough to make the population enthusiastic again. Then 2 more stilt houses are required. I also build these, reducing culture again as more inhabitants have to share the existing culture. Now the quest asks us to build a pottery. This is a better production building than the hunter. We first have to research pottery in the technology tree. We still have the necessary 3 forge points. Afterwards, we can construct the pottery. Next, we have to buy a forge point. The price for the first forge point is 200 coins. The price climbs with each forge point that you buy by another 50 coins. Therefore, you should not use this possibility too often in the very beginning, making sure that you always have a sufficient stock of coins. Now we have to research the wheel. We use all remaining forge points for this. As a result, we have the right to expand our city. We will use that later. First, we make sure that the productions are running and we fetch the quest reward. This is a good moment to reconstruct the city a bit. I prefer to have my city hall in one corner of the map. I move a hut away and place the town hall above the remaining tree. Now the tree is attached to my cursor and also wants to be relocated. I regroup my buildings a bit. This is a nice initial training for moving buildings, and I even add a little path. I don't like tiny decorations. The reason why I highly recommend this for everybody I will provide later. We delete the trees in the city. This makes our happiness drop significantly. We compensate this with 2 memorial buildings. Then the population is enthusiastic again. Our population is big enough for 2 more potteries. We build these to have enough supplies in the future. In all production buildings, you can decide between long and short production times. Several short productions have better results than 1 long production. Therefore, I start 5-minute productions now. When I make a break later, I will start longer productions as these continue to work even when I'm logged off. At the end of this start of the game, I want to recommend something that makes a difference between a good player and an average player. Immediately invite friends. The game already makes some recommendations. We simply accept these, but I highly recommend to do more. Using the ranking list, you can invite the game's best players to become your friends. But you will often receive the response that their friends list is already full. A valid alternative is jumping to page 100 of the ranking list, where you find the players around rank 1000, having more than 100,000 ranking points. These are players who usually play this game seriously, while beginners often get inactive after a few days. We urgently need active friends. It will take a while until players accept our invitation. In the meantime, we can help our neighbors. These neighbors are beginners just like us. By using the button 8, we motivate a residential building or production building of that neighbor. This will double its production. Or we polish a cultural building, which will double the happiness it provides. We also have a benefit from doing this, as we are rewarded with 20 coins for each time we help. This sums up. As you can see, we also receive our first blueprints. These will become very important in this game. What are blueprints? Why did we destroy the trees? Why do we need active friends? How will our jumpstart continue? This will follow tomorrow in part 2.